and gentlemen, CEO, trailblazer, pioneer, make some noise for Miss Arese UGWU, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. On lui donne de l'amour, on lui donne de la chaleur. Hey, 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 hey. No, 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 no. So Arese first is going to introduce herself, and then I'll be the voice of God with the questions.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I was under the impression that this was going to be a panel discussion, so I've been sitting here waiting for questions. But I guess I'll just say my story. So my small money journey started when I had my own aha moment when it came to money. So my marriage ended. I had a 1-year-old child, and I basically had to start my life again. And I worked in finance. I managed the wealth of many high net worth individuals. And then this happened, and I realized that even if I didn't have the excuse of saying I was a low income earner, I was living from paycheck to paycheck because I wasn't saving and investing enough in proportion to my income. So I started thinking, what about women like me who are smart, but maybe don't work in finance and don't have any kind of financial knowledge at all, and they work in entertainment or oil and gas? Who's talking to them about what can happen if your husband dies, if you get a divorce, if you lose your job? Who's talking to them about financial education? So I started figuring out my own finances, applying everything that I'd learned, and then I wrote an article on Bella Niger, which is not here to hear this, but it started with a Chanel bag versus a stock portfolio. And then people kind of liked it. They were engaging with the posts, and it turned from article to starting my own blog to doing videos, breaking down financial jargon, and then I wrote the book, The Smart Money Woman. How many people have read it or watched it, the series? Yay! So I wrote the book, The Smart Money Woman. It tells the story of 5 African girls and their pain points with money, and it pairs, the entertainment with financial education lessons, so smart money lessons at the end of each chapter. And then I had the crazy idea to go on a Pan-African book tour to countries like South Africa, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Uganda, to name a few. And then I turned the book into a TV series that is now showing on Netflix.
Yes, 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 yes. So Arese, you didn't have any experience in finance, but you learned on your own, and you became, an advisor, basically, because that's what you're doing for all of us. You said you had a crazy idea, but how did the idea came to you to turn, first of all, to write a book, and then to turn your book into a series, because not a lot of people have mastered that idea of how to take their concept and then make it so reachable to a particular audience, especially when it comes to finance, because it's one of the hardest things for our women, women on the continent or in the diaspora to grasp. We spend. We like to spend, we know how to spend, but sometimes managing our finances is one of the hardest things. So how did you come up with the idea to make it so accessible for our generation?
Okay, so the interesting thing is my first degree is in business and management, my second degree is in development economics. So I do have a finance background, and okay. I did work in financial services for over 10 years. Okay. But, talking about the economics of things and applying it to your personal finances, they're 2 different things. So we go to primary school, secondary school, university, and nobody teaches us about managing our personal finances. They just tell you, save for a rainy day, budget, don't spend more than you earn, all that advice. But what does it really mean on a day-to-day basis? Like when you get your salary, when you have to pay bills, when you have to make financial decisions? What does it actually mean? So for me, personal finance became so important to me because I felt like as Africans, we're so vulnerable, especially women, when sudden things happen, right? And we don't have the tools that can help us, get out of hard situations. Because we've not been taught in any formal framework how to keep money or grow money, we've already made all the mistakes before we start trying to figure out how to do it. So I wanted to create something that, use my gift, because I did have the gift of being able to break down financial jargon to even my clients. So I basically applied that to creating stories. What do millennials at the time, before Gen Zs, came about, what do millennial women want to hear about, how do they want to receive this information? And I know that personally, I didn't like the whole, don't do this or don't do that. I wanted to help people understand it in a context that they would understand. So for example, in the book, Adesua is in a marriage. She's pretending to all her friends that her husband is the one looking after her and, and everything. She's doing well herself, but her own pain points when it comes to money is she keeps giving this man, her hard-earned money, and he's cheating on her, and he's not working, he's not taking any responsibility for the household. And ironically, a lot of women, African women, can relate to that. So seeing your personal finance issues in the context, in an African context, when it comes to financial abuse, when it comes to black tax, when it comes to things that pertain to how we deal with money in Africa, I guess people really related to that.
Thank you. So, yes, exactly. On peut applaudir bien fort pour elle. I have two questions, two final questions. And the first one is, you mentioned earlier that when you wrote your book, you went on a book tour. You went to countries like South Africa and Zimbabwe. So today, seeing how the world is opening up and, how the bridge is being gapped between French-speaking Africa and English-speaking Africa, do you have plans on, just bridging that gap yourself, with your projects for the future?
Oh my God, of course. So interestingly enough, I went to British School of Lome in Togo for 2 years, and I don't know why I didn't focus on in my French classes, because I would have been, killing it in this Francophone market. But yeah, I definitely want to do that. I feel like even if, we're West Africa, we're too divided. And even going on my book tour, I found that there were a lot of gaps. It's hard for you to be a Nigerian and do business in Kenya because of the logistics issues. It's more expensive to travel within Africa. There's so many different issues, but I feel like we can change the narrative if we collaborate to compete. So yes, definitely, I want to do more projects, that focus on Francophone Africa as well.
Okay. Well, I said it was my last question, but it really isn't. So this question will be the one before last. What format today do you use to keep engaging your community on social media through your projects?
So the interesting thing for me is that I started building my community from Bella, Niger. So I meet a lot of people today that say, Arese, oh my God, I've been following you since I was reading your articles on Bella, Niger. I read this article and it made me do X, Y, Z. And I could have never done my book tour. Social media has democratized access to markets, access to knowledge, access to people. And I could have never even done my first book tour without social media being a driver, because there were women who, came from different countries who would call me from South Africa and say, listen, I follow you on Instagram. I think you should bring this book to South Africa. I will help you create media. I will help you plan an event. I will help you get women together. And I would go and have these events of 150 women, 200 women in countries that I didn't know anyone. That was the first time that I was ever, going there to do business. So social media is very powerful. I think that through now the show being on Netflix and all the buzz, around that, season 2 is coming out soon, has helped to create a conversation on social media that is even bigger than me. So I might post about it, on Instagram. I might talk to, my followers about what we're doing, show them the behind the scenes of all the work that we're doing, from even writing the book to doing the first production, it's going on African Magic and Netflix. They followed that journey, and I think there's something powerful about people seeing you start small and then, you know, see how big, you know, it becomes. So yeah, I just focus on creating the content and hope that, you know, more people love it and engage with it and create content out of it. I went to the bathroom now, and a girl stopped me and she said, "Oh my God, you wrote Smart Money Woman. I'm not going to lie, I didn't read the book, but I watched the series. And the thing is, even if I can't speak English, you know, my English is not that strong. I loved the show so much." She was telling me about the characters she loved and how people were creating content on Facebook about all the smart money lessons from the show. So I think what I would love, what I hope happens is that people continue to create content from the content that they've seen and share it with their friends and all of that.
Thank you so much. And one last question, Arese. You said that you are ready to cross, you know, that bridge between English-speaking Africa and French-speaking Africa. Should we expect in the future a Smart Money Woman 3 shot in Abidjan?
Could be, could be.
All
it could
right.
be an interesting, you know, angle.
Yes. I mean, you know, with like some of the girls coming on a trip maybe in Abidjan, who knows, right? Who knows?
Fashion here is so killer, so we'll be so excited to explore that.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, mesdames et messieurs. Applaudissez bien fort, s'il vous plaît, pour Arese UGWU. Incroyable journey et vraiment, comme j'ai dit, vraiment une manière très, très intelligente de connecter la finance avec les femmes de notre continent et de notre diaspora, les jeunes femmes surtout,